All right, we are back now with the Shakespeare Code. Now, Edward de Vere, he being the playwright William Shakespeare in his play Romeo and Juliet in Act 2, Scene 3, quoting Friar Lawrence, "Holy Saint Francis, what a change is here! Is Rosaline, whom thou didst love so dear, so soon forsaken? Young men's love then lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. Jesu Maria, what a deal of brine hath washed thy sallow cheeks for Rosaline! How much salt water thrown away in waste to season love, that of it doth not taste. The sun not yet thy sighs from heaven clears, thy old groans ring yet in my ancient ears. Lo, here upon thy cheek the stain doth sit of an old tear that is not washed off yet." Now, that has a simple gematria of 4906. Note the Jesu Maria in black. Basically, what he's saying is he's exclaiming over, this great love that he had for Rosaline, so soon forsaken. And then he says, truly, that young men's love lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. In other words, lust. In the Jesu Maria of Romeo and Juliet, having a value of 4906 in simple gematria, within the Hebrew concordance, it is maskith, imagination, conceit, found in Ezekiel 8:10. So, it's aligning with the pyramid, because Friar Lawrence was describing the deceit, conceit, imagination within the heart of Romeo, because he's lusting after Juliet. But quoting Ezekiel 8:12, "Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark, every man in the chambers of his imagery? For they say, the Lord seeth us not. The Lord hath forsaken the earth." De Vere had studied and passed the Latin language with honours from 2 universities, Cambridge and Oxford. Today, however, those who study Shakespearean plays have the usual suspicious threat aimed at them that if anyone suggests De Vere was Shakespeare, they'll be banned from the universities or major groups studying Shakespeare. The King James Bible was put together by the order of King James I, King of the United Kingdom. 47 scholars under the leadership of Francis Bacon. He, a man noted for hiding codes in his own poems. And he was also a homosexual and Freemason, wasn't he? Yeah. Francis Bacon, the first Viscount of St. Alban, PC, QC, was an English philosopher, homo, and statesman, homosexual, and statesman who served as Attorney General and as Lord Chancellor of England. His works are credited with developing the scientific method and remained influential through the scientific revolution, where he would convey messages via numbers or codes. Once the King James Bible was ready for authorization, the handwritten manuscript was handed to King James. He told Bacon he would read it before he authorized it. He and De Vere edited and tweaked the manuscript. Then after 18 months, it was sent to the printers. This delay caused an anxious Bacon to overlook any changes. Sent immediately to the printers, they simply followed the script. We see in the authorized KJV, De Vere had changed the word Sabbath, uppercase, in 115 verses. In the code, we see the word Sabbath is written with a lowercase s rather than uppercase s. In 115 verses, the code here is to refer to the greatest sin, as far as the Jewish scholars are concerned, only discovered when it was too late. Jesus said he was the Sabbath, uppercase. De Vere and King James was aware the throne belonged to Golightly, with a gematria of 115. Reading Matthew 12:1. At that time Jesus went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were an hungered, and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. 12:2. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. Matthew 12:5. Or have ye not read in the law? So hello, this is the law now totally constructed by Ezra. How that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless. Matthew 12:8. For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath day. Matthew 12:10. And behold, there was a man which had his hand withered, and they asked him, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? That they might accuse him. So Sabbath has a simple geometry of 53 times 115, the number of times it's mentioned, equals 6095. In the Hebrew concordance is a tree. Hello? From 6086 from 6095. A tree. Tree of life, found in Genesis 2:9. The true king was descended from Henry Golightly, and King James and De Vere were aware of the name Golightly because they were cousins. The code De Vere was leaving in the translation was Golightly, as its value in gematria is 115. In the NIV Bible, the word Sabbath is all capitalized S, for once these codes were discovered, there has been a barrage of translation in the English language. These can be viewed at Bible Gateway online. Edward de Vere was the right-hand man, again, of Queen Elizabeth I. She had been tricked into signing the death warrant for her cousin Mary, Queen of Scots. She, the true Queen of the United Kingdom. Her death was the reason Elizabeth was urged by de Vere to nominate James VI, King of Scotland, to the throne of England upon her death to become James I of the United Kingdom. As Freemasonry was behind Mary's beheading in a particularly cruel act of butchery, however, de Vere and King James got even by the nom number, and is why the King James 1611 is the same written style as the plays of William Shakespeare. The first code I recognised was when I skimmed the Bible in 1991, was the same words of Romeo and Juliet, Wherefore art thou? In 2 verses, Isaiah 63:2, Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat, as a gematry of 8:8:1. Then in Matthew 26:50, and Jesus said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Jesus and took him. Has a value of 955. So the value of 955 minus 881 equals 74. 955 in the Greek concordance is Belial or Satan. In the Hebrew concordance it means shame. 881 in the Hebrew concordance is a place in Palestine. 74 is Jesus in English or simple gematria. Satan came and took Jesus. The divine guidance is obvious when the Freemason world is so desperate they insist that no one can even mention the reality that de Vere was Shakespeare. All throughout the Christian world, the churches have symbols of Freemasonry. Reading Acts 17:24, God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. The constellations are forbidden to be acknowledged as a created message in the stars. Capricorn is a goat on the top half and the lower a fish. Why? The message here is Sheol. The sea represents hell. Death, the place where most of the dead spends time between reincarnations. The ram is a mature sheep ascending out of hell. The ecliptic line, the equator in space, represents the ram being born, the Lamb of God, a ram, ascending out of Sheol, or hell. Now reading Zechariah 11:17, woe to the idle shepherd that leaveth the flock. The sword shall be upon his arm and upon his right eye. His arm shall be clean dried up, and his right eye shall be utterly darkened. From the internet, pentagrams all over the place. Freemasons have hand clasps as greetings to other Masons. A single eye used throughout the occult represents the idle shepherd. From Zechariah 11:17. Then we've got Hillsong Church in Sydney was found to be involved in the sacrifice of children, and Australia's new Prime Minister Scott Morrison is a member. Well, he's aligned with the church. He counts Brian Houston as his mentor. Brian Houston, the pastor of the church. And the elite in Australia have been revealed to be involved with child sacrifice. Revelation 14:9-11, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up for ever and ever, and they have no rest, day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. The beast is religion. Now, getting back to Shakespeare, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore will not we fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake. So the last word there, shake, is the 46th word in the verse. With the swelling thereof, Selah, there is a river, the streams whereof shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. God shall help her, and that right early. The heathen raged, the kingdoms were moved, he uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us, the God of Jacob is our refuge. Come, behold the works of the Lord, what desolations he hath made in the earth. He maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth, and he breaketh the bow, and cutteth the spear in sunder. All right, so here we go. There's 110 words down to the next word, spear in sunder. He burneth the chariot in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. So spear, counting back from refuge, is the 46th word. So here we've got 46 plus 110 plus 46 equals 202. 46 is mighty, spoken of God in the Hebrew concordance. 110 is immortality within the Greek concordance. So adding the vowels of the verse, you've got A, 53 of them, so the value is 53. E, there's 126 of them, multiply the value of 5 equals 630. I is 9 times 140 equals 360. U, 21 times 21 is 441, totaling 2414, which equals the capital of Palestine being Jerusalem. It's in the Greek concordance, is it?
Yeah. So we see here the spear in sunder. If you look at his coat of arms, he's holding a spear which is broken.
This is Edward de Vere.
Edward de Vere.
Yeah.
Spear in sunder.
Now, for several decades, some theorists have suggested that William Shakespeare placed his name on the translated text of Psalm 46, which we just read. Although many scholars view this as unlikely, stating that the translations were probably agreed upon by a committee of scholars. On the other hand, Shakespeare was in King James service during the preparation of the King James Bible and was generally considered to be 46 years old in 1611 when the translation was completed. There are a few extant examples of Shakespeare's actual signature, and it was customary at the time, with spelling being somewhat lax in those pre-standardized days. On at least one occasion he signed it Shakespeare, which divides into 4 and 6 letters, thus 46. The 46th word from the beginning of Psalm 46 is shake, and the 46th word from the end is spear.
What I've done here is shown that some of these quotes that are familiar are actually Shakespeare's work in his plays, and you'll find them in the Bible.
So he kept him as the apple of his eye, out of the mouths of babes. Put a knife to thy throat if thou be a man given to appetite. Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we shall die. The truth shall make you free. I am escaped with the skin of my teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. The love of money is the root of all evil. And he was right. The whole world is a stage, and we are but bit players.
That's what he said.
So it was necessary to remove Shakespeare away from Edward de Vere. So they have recorded de Vere born the 12th of April 1550 and died June the 24th 1604. So this made it impossible to have edited the King James manuscript. So taking these dates into account, 19,797 days or 2,828 weeks or 54.202359 years. Shakespeare being de Vere, the same birth date. So what they have is Shakespeare dying. So Shakespeare was de Vere, but they've got two separate death dates. One for de Vere and another one for Shakespeare, which just happened to be April 23rd, 1616. The sweet 16. Hello. So it's 24,115 days, 3,445 weeks, or 66.032859 years. From Psalm 74:6, but now they break down the carved work, there's your 6603, the years, thereof at once with axes and hammers. In the Greek concordance, 660 is apotinasso, meaning shake off. Hello?
Shake.
Shake off. Shake, yes. 3445 is casting down. The 54.20, 5420 means to tear up. And in the Greek concordance means to fence or enclose, to block up, to silence, stop. 542, the same as 1492, to see fully, see. 542 in the Hebrew concordance from 539 in the sense of training, an expert, cunning, workman.
Right, so that's what he was, and they're trying to block him, to silence him, cast him down. They're mentioning the word shake, however, in the numbers, and the 74, which is Jesus. So they break down the carved work. So you can say, when you put something on a stone, you carve it in. So would you not say that Shakespeare is written in stone?
Absolutely. And here we have the antique crown of David, the Golightly antique crown of David, reflected in Edward de Vere's coat of arms and the spear shaken asunder. Identical. absolutely a divine sign.